There is almost an infinite longing for communion with others who have a large vision. The immense fulfillment of friendship between those engaging in further evolution of consciousness has a quality impossible to describe. Together, we can make the reality we want to see. Driven by the forces of love, fragments of the world seek each other so that the world may come into being. Together, we can make the reality we want to see. There's almost this infinite longing for communion with others who have the eternal vision. The immense fulfillment of friendships between engaging in further evolution of consciousness has a quality impossible to describe. The old structures are being shaken up. Old stories have come to their limits. Old systems are failing us. What is emerging? Where do we go from here? How do we hold it in all the tenderness of a waking heart? Driven by forces of love, the fragments of the world seek each other so that the world may come into being. Together we can make the reality we want to see. You have entered the infinite Imaginarium. Douglas Rushkoff once wrote, "When human beings acquire language, we learn not just how to listen, but how to speak. When we gain literacy, we learn not just how to read, but how to write. And as we move to an increasingly digital reality, we must learn not just how to use programs, but how to make them. In the emerging, highly programmed landscape ahead, you will either create the software or you will be the software. Really, it's that simple. Program or be programmed. Choose the former and you gain access to the control panel of civilization. Choose the latter and it could be the last real choice you ever make." For a while, digital technologies are in many ways a natural outgrowth of what went before. They are also remarkably different. Computers and networks are more than mere tools. They are like living things themselves. Unlike a rake or a pen or even a jackhammer, a digital technology is programmed. This means it comes with instructions not just for its use, but for itself. And as such, technologies come to characterize the future of the way we live and work. The people programming them take on an increasingly important role in shaping our world and how it works. After that, it's the digital technologies themselves that will be shaping our world, both with or without our explicit cooperation. This is why this moment matters. We are creating a blueprint together, a design for our collective future. The possibilities of social, economic, practical, artistic, and even spiritual progress are tremendous. Just as words gave people the ability to pass on knowledge for what we call now civilization, network activities soon could offer us access to shared thinking, an extension of consciousness still inconceivable to most of us today. The operating principles of commerce and culture, from supply and demand to command and control, could considerably give way to an entirely more engaged, connected, and collaborative mode of participation.
Yeah, I was thinking about that very thing the other day actually, about the generations that have kind of been born into this technological age, and the speed of the programming, the visual impact of the things that they see, and the visual impact of the things that they see, and there's obviously a darker, more disturbing side to that. There's obviously a darker, more disturbing side to that. There's obviously a darker, more disturbing side to that. A way of seeing things, either they learn about things or they see things by accident, and it's almost like could be a desensitization, could be a desensitization of the emotional side of the human. You know, that's always been a concern of mine with technology. That's always been a concern of mine with technology. That's always been a concern of mine with technology. That I've always been concerned that it will compromise the emotional part of the human being. I've always been concerned that it will compromise the emotional part of the human being. You know, the bit that connects, the emotional part of the brain that connects to things. You know, the bit that connects, the emotional part of the brain that connects to things. You know, the bit that connects, the emotional part of the brain that connects to things. Because certain parts of the brain become dormant as we use parts of the brain that, you know, that are accessed when we're scanning information and surfing the net, as they say. You know, we're looking at stuff and our brains are processing this information, but other parts of the brain aren't getting used as much. There's obviously a darker, more disturbing side to that, but there could be a desensitization of the emotional side of the human. Most of our reality, everything that we perceive as external, works on the five sense reality. The internet is no different. You know, in fact, it's works on the five senses, but at a much faster pace, a much faster rate.